Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Verse Maker. And if I'm not wrong, this is the 13th episode and most probably the one that will close in on this year. One cannot deny the fact that life would be pretty much bland in absence of these charms called books. So with that in mind, let's begin with our new episode. Well, so today's episode will be a little different. Now, I can vouch for the fact that if I was born today, life would have been pretty much different. Life would then have revolved around YouTube and Netflix and stuff like that. But, well, my childhood was different because it revolved around books. Now, as you might have guessed from the thumbnail itself, I will be talking about books today. And these books are not mere books from the academia. These books are books that were bought for my leisure and have certain memories or certain stories attached with them. Now, these are obviously not all of my books. These are a few. For starters, these are some little cuties. These are midget classic editions, and these were given to me by my cousins, Shomak Roy and Shantani Roy. And I'm damn lucky to have these books. Now, to name them, it's Robert Louis Stevenson's Kidnapped, Charles Dickens's Oliver Twist, Great Expectations by Dickens, Jules Verne's A Journey to the Center of Earth, H.G. Wells's Time Machine, James Fenimore Cooper's The Last of Mohicans, Herman Melville's Moby Dick, William Bligh's The Mutiny on Board HMS Bounty, and Jack London's The Call of the Wild. Now, coming up next, we have one of the best examples of Stockholm Syndrome, which is sometimes, often read as a fairy tale. Starring the gorgeous Emma Watson, we have The Beauty and the Beast. Just that, beauty, as in Belle, here is ugly. I know, beauty is on the inside, but Belle here is actually ugly. Now, I have always been a connoisseur of fairy tales, so I did read a number of fairy tales back in the day, starting from Red Riding Hood to Alice in Wonderland. All of these were learned by heart. Now, coming up next, I have one of the very interesting stories. It's Dragon Stew and Other Stories. So it's a compilation, and this is one of my favorites because it has one of my favorite stories. Now, why is it favorite? Because it tells the story about this dragon. It's a dragon who has a top chef hat. You can see him wearing this chef hat, and it's about a king. It's a king who wants to have a stew made out of the meat of dragon, but he ends up having a stew that is made by a dragon. Now, while we are talking about fictional characters, here's my Bhagavad Gita. Oh wait, I need a disclaimer for that. But something does not require a disclaimer, and that's ghosts. And here's both of them. We have Bhoy Peona Bhoot Dekhe and we have Bhoyonkor Bhoot. These two are my Bangla ghost story books, and the memory I have of them is that this was bought back in 2009 when I went to the Bhoy Mela, and that was the first kind of book fair I had ever attended. It was here in Bali, and that was an interesting one. And I picked these two books up, asked Dad to get them for me, and he obviously did. So, loved ghost stories back then, still do. And for people who know me, they are quite aware of the fact that I'm quite a bhutiya person. Now, coming a little to my Borovella, I have 3 books here, 3 books that were received as awards, and these 2 were received as a part of a scholarship from my school, and this book awarded to Orkodipta Roy as a part of Dr. Rajendra Prasad Scholarship for Proficiency in English on 30th April 2011, signed by the principal herself. So here you see. Now, these 2 books does hold a lot of memory, and it's Satyajit Roy's Feluda, and Ruskin Bond's The Kitemaker. For people wondering, বাংলাতে কেন ফেলুদা পড়িস না, না বাংলাতে ফেলুদা পড়েছি, পড়তে ভালো লাগে, but this obviously is a part of a scholarship prize, so this holds value for me. Now, this is the Puffin Book of Classic Stories for Boys. This was received in the year 2014, and it was an award because I received the Best All-Rounder on the annual prize day held on 25th April 2014. So here's another book, and well, we have stories by Satyajit Ray, we have by Munshi Premchand, by Saki, Rabindranath Tagore, Arthur Conan Doyle, Dickens, and Mark Twain. For people who haven't read, get hold of this book. I leave the names of the books down in the description box, so if you miss out on those, don't forget to take a look. Now, well, let me talk about a book that actually made me feel like a superhero back in the day, and well, it still does. It's the complete Sherlock Holmes. Now, this is quite a thin book. I'm pretty sure that everyone is quite aware of the Sherlock Holmes, and please, my dear, get out of Benedict Cumberbatch and Robert Downey Jr. because you deserve to read this. This is a compilation of books, and it contains 56 stories and 4 novels by Arthur Conan Doyle. I've read all of these. So, here you go. For people who haven't read Sherlock Holmes, get a hold of this book. It's 350 rupees. It's an anthology of books. It's 350 rupees, and it's from Projapati. It's from Projapati Collections. So get hold of this. Now, coming to more recent times, I have a delight that was gifted to me by one of my best friends, Rayon Pal, and honestly, bhai, পড়া হয়নি. I haven't read the book because this is a part of a series, and as you know from the name itself, it's the last one. It's the end game. So thank you for this. Thank you for getting me this, and I don't really have your name in here, but once we meet when the pandemic's over, please sign the book. Please sign the book, and thank you for this. I promise to you I'll read this. এবার যে বইখানার কথা বলবো সেটা প্রায় সবাই পড়েছে, পড়ে কেঁদেছে, আবার পড়েছে, আবার কেঁদেছে, and I'm not talking of a classic love story. I'm talking of a story that has turned into a classic because of teenagers. It's John Green's The Fault in Our Stars. Now, The Fault in Our Stars, I know, sounds like a book of Jyotish Vidya, but my friend, it's not. And for teenagers out there, if you haven't read the book, read it. And I know that even though this book is a delight to read, people don't really find it interesting. And I know everyone who has read this book wants a classic love story like this, but my friend, the world is not a wish-granting factory. To end this episode, here's my nightmare. This is a bestseller, yet the kinkiest thing my teenage brain could ever comprehend. It's Grey by E.L. James. And you know how ashamed a person can be to get this book. Now, well, I'm a student of English literature, studying British and American literature, reading classics, yet I got hold of this book. In my defense, first time Calcutta Book Fair e giye এটা দেখতে পেয়েছিলাম, কিনেছিলাম. Now, I know, don't judge me. Now, for people who aren't aware of the fact, Grey is written by E.L. James, and it's 50 Shades of Grey as told by Christian Grey himself. So if you haven't read this book, don't take the burden of reading it because it's awful, and I don't know why I have this. I'm ashamed of this. Anyone who's thinking, bhai তুই যদি না পড়িস আমায় দিয়ে দিয়ে দেব না, দাম দিয়ে কিনেছি অ্যান্ড আমার বই নিজের কাছে রাখতে খুব ভালো লাগে। সো ফর এনিওয়ান হু ওয়ান্টস টু আস্ক ফর দিস, মাথায় গাঁটটা মারবো, দেবো না। নিজের দরকার হলে নিজে কেনো অ্যান্ড নিজে আফসোস করো কেন কিনেছো। সো that's it. This video is apparently way long than expected. I had a number of other books to show it to you guys, but we don't really have much time. Now, like my other videos, there's no moral to it. There's no moral value. There's nothing to learn. But you should be aware of the fact that reading never gets old. So for people who are not into reading, get down with your books, start reading something little, something fancy. Don't get down with big fat books, and if you don't finish them, start crying all the way. Start with little books. I've shown you a number of books today, so anyone who hasn't read it, start from the abridged versions, get into the unabridged as you grow older, as time passes by. So that's all for today. If you like the video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and subscribe to the channel because it's free. But well, see you on the other side. See you in 2021. Have a great new year. Stay happy, stay healthy. It's me, Orkodip Roy, signing off. Goodbye.